Welcome to The Holistic Entrepreneur with holistic nurse practitioner, success coach, and best-selling author, Bonnie Groessl. Bonnie and her expert guests share tips, tools, and strategies to achieve success on your holistic entrepreneur journey. Each show features answers to common entrepreneur challenges, along with a healthy dose of support and motivation. Now, please welcome the host of The Holistic Entrepreneur, Bonnie Groessl.
Well, welcome everyone. This is Bonnie Groessl, your host here at The Holistic Entrepreneur. Now today we're going to do a segment in our content marketing, which I've kind of got pushed to the side for a while because I had all these wonderful guests that wanted to be on the show, but we're going to kind of revisit that and go back to it. And then next week I'm going to do a summary of the whole thing because it was kind of hit and miss for a while. So before we get to that, though, I always want to do an angel reading because I started those this month. And the angel reading, if that comes today, this is just so, I think, needed at this time in our lives. It's Archangel Michael. And to me, this signifies that we're going to be okay. Whatever happens, it's all going to be good. We're protected. Things are going to work out. And, you know, there's lots of stuff going on in the world today. And in the U.S., it's kind of crazy political climate and all of that. So Archangel Michael is there always, right? And so this is a reminder to acknowledge that we are never alone and that we are protected throughout our lives. So if you've had a difficult year for whatever reason, 2019 was not your best year, know that it's all going to be okay. That you're not here alone. God, the angels, whoever, past ones, loved ones, are all with you. And Archangel Michael wants you to know that everything's going to be okay. You are protected. You, your loved ones, and all of your life in general. So I always want to start every show with a little angel reading, just kind of a reminder, our thought for the week. And as we enter this, we're kind of... Now, tomorrow is Christmas, and we're to the end of the year. Oh my goodness, we're almost to the end of a decade. Do you believe that? It's just so unreal to me. But know that Archangel Michael is coming to us today to remind us that it's all going to be okay. We are protected. And now I always want to thank all of you for spending your valuable time here with me on the show. I am so grateful that you do that. I know that time is our most precious asset. So I always want to make sure that these shows are value-packed so that you feel your time was well spent. Now, I think being a holistic entrepreneur is really more about who you are than what you do necessarily. You come from that heart-centered place. You want to make a difference in the world. And perhaps that's you, and that's why you've decided to join us on the show today. So if this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you've tuned in before, welcome back. I hope that you find this will be another great show with insights to help you on your entrepreneur journey. And make sure you check out the show page before you leave. There's always a gift for you there. And I have a special going on right now, kind of an end of the year thing. My Expand Your Reach with Podcasting Masterclass is like 90% off. It's just like crazy low cost. So anyway, the link is on the show page. You can check that out if you want. Maybe you have a message to share, and maybe podcasting is for you. I mean, it's a way to reach the world easily, really easily, and connect with so many people. Oh my goodness, I would not have met many of the people I've met in my professional life had it not been for having a show. It's just amazing. So if you want to check that out, that's on the show page. Now, make sure that you also connect with me if you have a message to share and you don't want to do your own show, but you want to be a guest. I always love meeting new people and having guests on the show, so reach out to me. Now, the information presented here is educational, inspirational, and motivational in nature, but I always want you to simply take what fits for you and let go of the rest. This show does not intend or imply to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment either. I always want to preface every show with that little caveat for all of us. Now let's get into our content for today. I'm so excited to share this with you. I was kind of feeling like I was running out of time as the end of the year was coming. And so I've actually put two types of content marketing together today. Webinars and ebooks, because they really are similar. The content marketing series, as I mentioned, began, when I looked at it, began back in July. And then we took some time off to have some really awesome people on the show. And I certainly don't regret doing that. They had wonderful messages to share, and I'm happy to be able to share them with you. But it kind of put this show to the side for a while. So I realized that the series has kind of been all over the place. And so next week I will do that summary of all the content. And I'll also put the dates that the show has aired so that you can easily go back and find them to listen to the whole thing if you'd like to again. But today we're talking about webinars and ebooks. It's an easy way to share your content and get noticed and build your business if you have a business. We've spent a lot of time talking about, in this series, about ways to create content, blogging, newsletters, videos, podcasting, social media, all that stuff builds rapport with your ideal clients. Well, now you've got all this content, right? Let's repurpose it into other things to make more of it to reach even more people. So let's first talk about webinars. Now, you have something to teach. I know you do. We all do. Remember, no one in the whole world does what you do in the way you do it. That's all of us. We're all unique, and we all have that gift. So you have something to teach. A free webinar is a free piece of additional content, and it usually requires a sign up, an opt-in, so that people give you their name, their first name or something, and their email, so that you know where to send the video of your webinar, or maybe they visit your website and that's where they found it. It requires an email subscription or some sort of connection so that if you're doing a live webinar, you can send them the link to view it. And if it's recorded, you can send them the link to watch the replay or the recording of it. We're going to talk a little bit about the difference between live and evergreen webinars today as well. It also provides, lead generation because you've got their name and email. Now you can build that relationship, nurture that relationship. So it's great for rapport building. And it's very affordable. It's got long-term value, and you can repurpose the content to create even more content. So we're really using content that you already have to create the webinar in the first place. And then you can take that webinar and repurpose it yet again into other things. So there's just so many benefits of doing this. It's really not that hard to do. Lots of webinar tools out there. Some are free, some are paid, but it's just a really good resource that gets you out in front of people. Now, maybe you don't want to have your face on the screen, like you're not comfortable with doing live to camera. Do a PowerPoint and then voice over or talk through your PowerPoint. You can have your picture up in the little corner if you want, or you can just have the PowerPoint showing. You don't have to be live to camera necessarily. You can use webinars to launch a product or a service. When you teach something valuable in a webinar, there will be some of those people who are listening to the webinar and they want more of you, right? So this is a great way to introduce your products and services. You give them great valuable content, but you can only do so much in an hour or however long the webinar is. And there will be some people who want to go further. So why would you give away free content? You might be wondering that. Well, you want people to think, boy, if this free stuff is this good, what he or she sells must be absolutely amazing. So you want them to be really excited about the content that you share, so much so that they just want more of you. And you can also create, webinars and web classes just to provide content. You just grow your list to build that know, like, and trust factor. You don't have to always lead it to a sale or selling your product or service, but always, always have some sort of call to action. It may be a free chat with you, on a phone or Zoom or whatever. It might be to follow you on social media. It might be something really little, but provide something to engage them. It's a really good strategy to start with a small yes, a small commitment, which they've already done actually by signing up for your webinar. They're committing their most precious asset, right? Their time. Now, most webinars are about an hour because time is precious. So some people go on and on with their webinars, and personally, and this is just a Bonnieism, I don't like webinars that are like 2 hours long and they go on and on and on. But I find that an hour is probably 45 minutes to an hour is a good time frame. So maybe 5 to 10 minutes of introduction, who you are, and talk about their problem, what they're going to gain from this, you're in the right place if, and then this is what you're going to learn. This is what we're going to cover. And then give maybe 30 to 40 minutes of good quality content. And then leave some time at the end for a Q&A if it's live, or your pitch to your product or service if it's not live. And if it isn't live, I just recently did this. I did an evergreen webinar or web class, I called it, and I didn't do it live. It was evergreen. So to provide for that Q&A, I gave contact information, my email, my schedule link to if they wanted to chat, to just make sure that I could answer their questions, because I wasn't going to be there live at the time that they were watching it. So you can do that as well. I mean, there's lots of ways to slice it, but bottom line, you want to provide value and you want to connect with these people. And you can choose to offer a replay or not. Personally, I really like replays, and sometimes I won't sign up for something if there isn't going to be a replay, because I'm not absolutely sure that I'll be able to attend. I mean, life gets busy, things come up, life gets in the way, and poof, something took priority. So I personally, and this again is a Bonnieism, like that replay offer. And if you want to do, evergreen webinars, as I mentioned, do Q&A in some other way, as I mentioned, because you don't want to leave them hanging. You don't want to have them, watch your great content and then think, oh, but I have a question about this, and then they can't ask it. So you want to leave some way for them to connect with you. And then you can drip out the webinar on an autoresponder. It can be as simple as that. An email that goes out with the link to the video, or there are systems that do webinar, whether it's live or recorded or evergreen or whatever. There are programs that do that as well. So now you've got all this content. You've got all the content that we've talked about previously, blogging and video and social media and all that stuff. And now webinars. Oh my goodness. The next step in my mind is a book. You have all this content. Why not repurpose it into an ebook? And now you can have an ebook as just something on your website that you have an opt-in for, and people can, sign up for it and get the PDF to it. Or you can publish it on Amazon, which I really highly recommend. They make it so easy these days to publish on Amazon. It's a huge credibility booster to be published. Now, when I'm, meeting somebody new for the first time and they say they've got a book, where do I go? And you might too. I go to Amazon to see if they're on there. And sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But to me, that's sort of, Amazon is so big that that's kind of almost a credibility piece in and of itself. So, but you still want to have quality content, right? So make sure that the quality content is there. Have it edited by a professional, somebody who knows how to edit, because the last thing you want is a negative review. And then think about your ideal reader. Very often, they're the same person as your ideal client. What's their problem or challenge? How will reading your book help them to solve it? How do you want them to be after reading your book? What do you want them to be able to say, do, think, or feel after finishing your book? Because really, lots of people say, well, I just want to sell a bunch of books. Well, to me, and again, this is just me, that's not the goal. The goal is to have them actually consume your book, the whole thing. So you want to make it quality, and you want to make sure you engage the reader. And I think to do that, you need a little bit of help sometimes, at least somebody else to look at it, because we know our stuff too well, and we don't see, we know what we're talking about, but the reader might not, and we don't see our own mistakes. So in an ebook, this is my other big excitement thing about ebooks and how popular they've become. You have so much latitude. I mean, you can add as many color pictures as you want, whereas in print books, that's an issue in terms of cost. Hyperlink it to your website, or really anything else for that matter. You can send links to audios and videos and really put a lot of stuff into an ebook because of the hyperlinking ability. Now, there are probably things on your website, like maybe you have an FAQ page, things that people ask you all the time. Podcast videos, free reports, anything else that you've already created can be repurposed into a nonfiction book. Now, maybe you're not a nonfiction person. Maybe you want to write fiction. Well, and that's fine too, because really anything that gets you published is a credibility booster. So if you want to tell a story, write fiction, whatever, and say that you're published, get it out on Amazon. Providing that good quality content is important though. and you want to have some reviews and gain exposure and all of that. And then you're going to benefit in your business in that perspective, even though it's not a nonfiction book. So you can do either, actually. And once you publish on the Amazon platform, you'll have the ability to create an author's central page, which not everybody, I mean, more and more people know about this, but there's still some people who don't have an author's central page, and it amazes me because it's kind of like a free one-page website that you get right on Amazon that's linked to your book. So you have to be published, though, in order to create this. So once you're published, you can claim your book and add your bio, images, videos, links to your blog, post events. It's amazing. It's another way to expand your reach and really get out there. And you're sort of riding on the back of Amazon's platform to do this. And with Kindle Direct Publishing, which is how you would publish if you did it on Amazon, you can also sign up for additional programs like giving your book away free for up to 5 days. I think it's every 90 days you can do this. I did this with one of my ebooks, Claim Your Joy, and I had so many downloads that it became number 1 in 2 categories, like within a day. So it's a really cool way to increase your exposure, because being able to say that you're a bestseller on Amazon is another great credibility boost, isn't it? So now next week, we're going to summarize like all these things we've talked about in content marketing, because I went through this stuff pretty fast. And I'm going to go through all the pieces, add the dates for the episodes from before. And if you want a deeper dive in any of these things that we've covered in content marketing, we'll get it on the calendar for 2020. Whether I talk about it or we bring a guest on who knows more about it or whatever. So let me know, put a comment, send me an email or put a comment on our Facebook page or whatever. And let's get this content out to you, because I really want you to be able to, really move forward in this coming year. I mean, sort of the end of a decade is a huge milestone. It's not just like any other new year. The beginning of the new year in 2020, I think, is the one all of us will just be amazed at what we can manifest. And at the beginning of the new year, we'll keep the angel readings the first week of the month. And I'm not sure how long I'll keep that, but for now, I'm still going to do the angel reading as the first week of the month. But I'm going to add some more mindset pieces to it, which is really a part of it anyway. I'm just going to let you know that, identify that they're mindset pieces. So the first week of the month is really all about mindset. And the angel readings are really an important part of that, I think, because they're things that we know. They're just things we need to be reminded of. And so I'll continue to do that. And then at the beginning of every show, like I did today, do just a simple reading just to kind of kick off the show for the week, give you something to think about each week. I am so committed to providing great content to help you on your entrepreneur journey in the coming year. So if you have ideas, suggestions, things you want to know about, hear about, guests you'd like me to have on the show, certainly reach out to me. And now next week, we're doing the summary of everything. This was a little longer show today. And next week might be as well. It probably will be, maybe even a little bit longer, because we're summarizing everything. But know that you can go back to listen to all the other shows. I'll put the dates in the show page for you. And then we'll kick off the new year in a fantastic way with an angel reading for the year. And that actually, the year starts on a Wednesday, I think it is. So we're not going to be able to do an angel reading because it's the first Tuesday until the 7th of January. I've also, as you might know if you're on my newsletter list, and if you're not, there's a link below that you can join if you like. But the newsletter had been weekly in the past year or two, and I think that's just too many emails for people, so it's going to monthly. And now with 2020 starting, and it's kind of a goofy start in terms of when the show airs and when I do the angel reading, we're going to do this second Wednesday of each month is when the newsletter will come out. So it's only once a month, but what I do is I start off with the angel reading for that time period and then go back and revisit all the shows from the previous month so that if you missed them or whatever, you can go back and just click on the link and get there. And I always have some I don't know. I don't know if you'd call it wisdom or it's just Bonnieisms, but I always have something to share in the beginning. So that will continue, and the next one is going to come out on January 8th. It would be because it's the second Wednesday of each month now. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I look forward to chatting with you again next week as I summarize everything, and then I am so excited to get into 2020 with all of you. Thank you for joining. And remember, always, always remember, anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself.
You've been listening to The Holistic Entrepreneur, hosted by Bonnie Groessl. The Holistic Entrepreneur has been brought to you by M&B Global Solutions, your source for individualized coaching for entrepreneurs and authors, along with book editing and publishing services. To learn more, go to mandbglobalsolutions.com.